Hi, my name is Jacqui, and right now I am very pregnant. When I'm recording this, I'm going to be almost 36 weeks pregnant, and when this comes out, I'll be 37 weeks pregnant. And I wanted to chat with you around what it looks like as a business owner to be taking my own maternity leave. I want to share with you, I guess, the things that I'm implementing in my business to help this to be a hopefully okay time for me where I can actually switch off, but also what it kind of looks like, because this maternity leave is quite different from my first maternity leave I took 3 years ago. And I want to step you through, I guess, what that looks like, the things that I'm implementing, and how I'm kind of going to manage it this time away. So hi, if we haven't met before, my name is Jacqui and I'm a graphic designer and I run my own business. And if you don't know my business, I'm going to just give you a bit of an overview of that right now so you have an idea of what the heck I'm talking about when I talk about a few different parts of this. But in essence, I have a graphic design business and I have two key arms to that. Firstly, I have an education side where I teach business owners design. This mostly happens through free materials like YouTube, like some free video series that I have and quizzes and all those fun things, on Instagram, lots of those kind of things. And I also have a paid course. This paid course is called DIY Design My Biz, and it's open all the time for anyone to join at any point. I also have a side of my business called the White Deer Studio where there are done-for-you design services. I don't do this design because by the time I started this studio, I was already pregnant or about to be pregnant, planning on being pregnant. And so I knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to be a part of, but I also wanted to have it as something that was a service that I could provide through my business. So I've got the studio side for done-for-you graphics, and I've got the course and education side. And it's important to know the difference between those two things because pretty much the only thing that existed 3 years ago when I took maternity leave was my course. And I intentionally created that as something that I could have that would continue to be able to sell while I was raising a family and being a mum. I guess just to speak to that too, one of my priorities as a business owner and one of the reasons I started running my own business was so that I could be a stay-at-home mum. That's one of the things that I value. And so I wanted to make sure that my business supports me in that. And so doing that and to make sure that my maternity leave supports me as well. And obviously as the mum, I'm going to be going through I can already feel my body slowing down and saying, Jacqui, can we just chill and not be recording videos all the time? And there's also this side of me that I'm going to have some recovery time. I'm going to have bonding time. I get to have bonding time with my beautiful new baby. I get to spend time feeding them and having late nights with them and being incredibly exhausted and raising two children together at once and all these different things. And I want to make sure I'm being present for that as much as I can. As much as I love my work, it is actually quite hard for me to switch off. And so what I'm doing in this season is trying to create systems that are going to help me to be able to switch off and trust the process I've created. When I first had maternity leave 3 years ago with my first daughter, I say first daughter as if I'm going to have a second daughter. I don't know what we're having for this second baby, but with my first, who was my daughter, I created DIY Design My Biz through this course so that I could have that ongoing stuff, but it wasn't totally built up in a way that it probably is now. There weren't as many students. I probably had closer to 100 students, whereas now I have 300 students plus, and I'm having much more regular enrollments in there. So one of the last things I implemented, but I'm glad that I've done it, is helping to have my course be able to run without me. So that involves a few different things. Firstly, we want to make sure that it's selling without me. We want to make sure that there's promotion happening without me being a part of it. And we also want to make sure that it's being delivered really well. So it's actually the students that are enrolling are actually still getting support. And so there's two sides that I needed to look after. And the first one I've been working on for about a year or two, three or four. My whole time is trying to create a really ongoing marketing strategy where people are constantly finding the program and constantly enrolling in it. And that's really tricky to do because when you have an evergreen program, there's less urgency to purchase because you can just purchase any time. So it's kind of about creating urgency there, creating different incentives for people to join through, whether that's discounts or whether that's limited timers and bonuses, whatever it is. I've chosen to do a little bit of a discount of an option for people if they join within a certain window of being a part of different parts of my funnel. So there's things that I've been working on and thinking about strategically for quite a while to make sure that when I go on maternity leave, this program will hopefully still sell by itself. And passive income is a whole thing, which I don't believe is very passive. But in the end, what this program is trying to be for myself is this passive income model. And so to do that, I've had to make sure that my YouTube is still being scheduled, which I'm going to tell you something more soon because that is a big traffic driver to my course. And also my Facebook ads are still running. And so with Facebook ads wildly overwhelm me. It doesn't make any sense to my brain, but they are running and they are doing relatively well. And so instead of me just taking my foot off the gas with those, I'm continuing to invest in a program where I've got someone actually going to be helping me with those Facebook ads and can track the metrics and continuing to track this and track that. And this stuff costs money, but hopefully if my course still sells, then I can be able to pay for them. And so there's different things that I need to think about of like, if I drop this, will this still be able to get paid for enough? Or if I drop this, will this just stop all of my income in this area? And so thinking through like, what do I need to put my money towards and what do I need to invest in? So there's the marketing side. And then there's also the delivery side. Originally, I just thought we have monthly calls inside the group. And so I thought I'll just pause that for 2 months and then I'll just pick it back up and I'll try to still be posting and helping and giving my support inside the group, which people can post in at any point to get support from me. But I realized that was becoming an area of stress. Like it was literally like going to happen. Like I don't want to be on my phone all the time or on my computer all the time with a newborn giving feedback to people. But I also don't want to let people down when they've joined the course and they expected help and they want to get their brand out there. But where's Jacqui? She's not replying because she's got a baby. And so trying to work out that balance. And so what I've actually done is I have hired a support coach. So she is an ex-DIY Design Biz student and she's also an ex-co-creation club, which means she's worked quite closely with me and she's also a designer in her own right. And so I'm really excited to be able to bring her in. And so instead of me feeling like I have to just go and do all of this work for my program, which I want to do because I don't want to let people down and I want them to be supported because that's a big part of what I believe the program is. It's not like a just buy it and Jacqui's not around kind of program. It's a buy it and be supported program. And I believe that to my bones in terms of why it works. I was like, how can I do this when I've got a baby? So she's now going to be running the calls for me and she's also going to be giving support in the group. And I fully trust and know that the support that she gives will be just as good as what I give, maybe even better because it's going to be a slightly different perspective. And then I can just, if I want to, I can show up in the group, but I don't have to have that pressure because I know that my people and my students are being supported. And so it's really exciting that I get to think these things through, but it is a lot to think through. And so that one part is my course and making sure that I've got that delivery and that marketing sorted. If I rewind a little bit too, I should probably chat about what I've actually chosen to do in terms of taking time off. And so I've chosen to take at least 2 months off. I'm trying to set up the business so that for at least 2 months it runs by itself. I'm hoping for maybe 3, but I've got no idea what it's going to look like with this new kid. My first baby was pretty tricky, so I'm hoping for maybe an easier one this time. But you can't pick these things. What I wanted to do that was create a goal for that, and my coach Ali helped me with this in terms of I was like, no, I'll just take a couple of weeks off and I'll be done. She's like, no, take at least 2 months off. And I was like, it's really scary. It feels really scary to 1, set everything up and to 2, trust that everything's going to work that way. So if you're in this season of life where you're trying to take some extended time off, I think it's really important to make those decisions, not out of fear of like, what if, but out of what's going to be the most supportive for this season of my life. And for me, it is taking that extended time off. So how can I actually do that in a way that supports me, supports the business and supports the people that I'm meant to be helping, whether it's my studio clients or my DIY Design Biz clients. So to make sure I made that decision not out of fear. And so it's taken me months to actually work out what I want that to look like. I didn't even think about having a support coach in DIY Design Biz until last week. And that's kind of all just now happening now. And so there's things that have just slowly been piling together and forming a picture and this puzzle piece that's kind of connecting to how things are going to look. There's things that aren't totally wrapped up and I'll share about those in a moment, but most of those things are kind of worked out and fleshed out in a way that I can just be like, okay, cool. But I didn't know that when I first decided I wanted 2 months off. It's been a slow process of me putting in the systems and things in place to make sure that can work. So as I said with marketing, that's one of the things I've been making sure that I'm pushing into still, because I still want my course to sell. I still want to still be a presence. I don't want to, which some people could do and that'd be totally fine. I don't want to just disappear. And the reason I want to do that is because I have people to look after. I have studio team that I want to make sure still have an income. I have people I still need to pay whether or not my business is making money in terms of my virtual assistant and my video editor and all these different people. I still need to be making an income. And so that's a lot of I didn't have anyone working for me when I had my last maternity leave. And so that's been something I've had to consider. So I need to make sure my marketing is still happening. And so I've got my Facebook ads happening. I've also got that organic content happening. I have recorded a whole plethora of tutorials and podcast episodes and interviews that are going to go out over the 3 months I'm on leave. I've nearly scheduled up until June at this point. I'm really hoping to schedule into June because if I don't schedule into June, I'm going to have to start recording again in May. And if I start recording again in May and I have the baby at the start of April, May, that's not even 2 months off. So I really need to get in there with like 3 or 4 months worth of content because I'm taking 2 weeks off before the baby is due and all these different things. That's something else to speak to. I'm having 2 weeks off before the baby is due. So baby's due around Easter, end of March, and I'm taking off 2 weeks before that, which feels really, really good. It's something that I didn't actually think I would do. I thought I would just work up until the baby came, but I can feel my body being like, Jacqui, can we stop? Can we slow down? And so I've been trying to lean into that. So I'm put end dates in mind now, as long as baby doesn't come before that, which is well possible. I was 3 weeks early, and then creating things. And so I've been working out how can I create and batch content. So for me, for the last probably 3 or 4 months, I've been planning future content and batching that. So today, for example, this is the 5th video created. I've created 3 tutorials, podcast interview, and now this one. That's not to say like my content's going to be really dry and boring. I am so excited for the content that's coming out over the next few months, and it's going to be totally relevant and totally exciting. I'm so excited to share it with you, but it has meant that it's involved a lot of planning. And so behind each episode, I need to plan the content of the episode. I need to make the notes for the episode. I need to record the episode. I need to pass the episode over to my editor. I need to write, if it's a podcast, the show notes for the episode, the blog post for the episode, the YouTube thumbnail graphics. My VA designs the graphics for me, but I have to do the strategy of what text do I want on this graphic and provide the imagery. And so there's all these different bits and pieces that need to work together. And thankfully I do have a team to that editing. Say for a podcast, beyond doing the show notes and everything like that, my VA will do the actual design stuff. She'll upload it to the website. She'll schedule the YouTube. She'll schedule the podcast. She'll schedule the blog post. She'll do lots of those things, which saves me a lot of time. So pretty much for every episode, I need to go through and record it. I need to go through and add all my notes. I need to go through and then assign it to the different team members. And then once all of that's done, it's signed off and I can go tick, and I put a little tick box next to my whole schedule. And it's quite overwhelming, but it also feels just so good to have that stuff done. And I know that future Jacqui is going to be really thanking me. And that's not to say I couldn't have just had some time off. Like when I was in my first trimester, you might remember I stopped posting altogether. I didn't obviously anticipate getting pregnant. We'd been trying for quite a while, and I didn't anticipate that right then was when I get pregnant. I didn't anticipate how sick and tired I would feel. And so I just disappeared for a while, and that was okay. And if that has to happen with me for this podcast and this YouTube channel, then so be it. I'm totally comfortable with that. But while I am feeling good and while I can plan things, I am planning and batching content so that things can still be released. Because as I said before, YouTube and my podcast are one of the biggest drivers of my business to things that get me money, that help me to make an income for my business. And so it makes sense to continue those things. Oh, hello. I'm interrupting this episode super quickly to let you know that we have limited availability to work with the team at White Deer Studio. If you want done for you graphic or brand support, that means doing your graphics for you. Anything from bespoke social media templates to launch graphics or a full branding package, our team are ready to support you. Just head to whitedeer.com.au/design studio to find out more. That's the color white, the animal deer.com.au/design studio to find out more. We cannot wait to work with you. All right, back to the episode. In a totally different vein, I am not scheduling my social media. I'm not scheduling out my emails. I have automatic funnels that will be happening if people sign up to different things. They're all set up, but I'm not going to be sending out my newsletter, or I'm not going to be doing my social media posts in advance. I do hope to do them on the go, but they're not the things that drive the most business to my business. So I'm putting less pressure on myself to do those. And when I do them, I can share my YouTube content. I can share my podcast content that I've already created in advance. And I can just use that as a bit of a base. And then maybe when I'm breastfeeding my baby and I'm just sitting there bored for an hour, I can actually just create a bit of a quick content or a quick reel or a quick post to help that content happen. I would have loved to have some stuff scheduled out, but the reality is between planning all of this content, training all of my team, creating a new website that I launched a couple of weeks ago, I didn't have the time to do it. And there's some things I can't do. And so I'm letting those things go because they're not the biggest drivers to my business, and I can do them more easily on the go. Recording videos like this with a baby and a toddler, less easy. So I'm doing those harder things now while I can, and I'll do the social media posts, the newsletters on the go later if I need to. But I've given myself full permission that if I don't get to doing those, that's okay. What I am going to do for my social media is create a set of 3 pinned posts that I'm going to pin at the top of my Instagram grid that kind of just gives a bit of an update. It's going to share one that I'm on maternity leave, and then it's going to share how you can work with me still during this time. So you can join my course, you can listen to this free, but you can listen to my podcast episodes on my YouTube, or you can work with my studio, and those things are still around. And so I'm having something there so that people aren't just like, where's Jacqui? She's totally disappeared. It's, oh, hey, Jacqui's on maternity leave. Here's how you can still work with me if you want to do that. Another thing we'll be doing is email autoresponders. So the second I go on maternity leave on that 15th of March, I'm going to set up an autoresponder saying, thanks, I've gotten your email. If it's urgent, please respond urgent. But in essence, I am on maternity leave. So here are the links to everything you need. Here's an email address for my VA if you really need to contact me. But in essence, I'm off. See you in a few months, because I want to make sure that I'm respecting that time and that people, when they email me, they understand what's happening. If I just didn't put an autoresponder on there, people might send me an email and think, where's Jacqui? What's happening? Did my email send? They would get mad at me. Well, do you get mad at me when I take a few days to respond? I'm like, guys, I'm just a one person here managing this inbox, and my daughter's over here and I'm playing with her right now. And so setting up that autoresponder is going to help me to set expectations of people emailing me and also give me full permission to switch off when I need to. And so the two more things I'm doing that I want to chat to is one, creating systems. And so I've spent the last few years trying to create systems. I find systems quite hard to do because when you go from being a solo business owner doing everything yourself, you think you don't need systems because you just know everything in the back of your mind. But when you start to hand over things to your VA or to your design team or to this or to that, you need to have systems in place so they know what to do. They know what's in your mind. So I spent the last few months trying to intentionally be like, all right, this is how I reply back to this client. And this is how I post this podcast, or this is how I do that, or this is how I do this. Kind of implement a few different systems in there. I have not done as many as I wanted to, or like standard operating procedures, SOPs. I haven't done as many as I wanted to, but I've got a few in there. And I've been having meetings with all of my team to kind of, I guess, do a bit of a handover and say, these are all the things I want you to do, and this is how I want you to do them. And so whether that's creating a bit of a video for them to watch as a tutorial for doing a particular task that I do, whether that's creating like some canned emails so that if someone's payments fail, go and use this email template and send them and do this thing with the background in this Stripe and do this and do that, and having those systems set up so that when something happens, I don't have to just scramble and get out of my maternal just blobby state and action things because it's suddenly urgent, but my team knows how to do those things. So setting up those systems has also been something I've been doing. And lastly, there's the studio side of things. So as I said, when I had my baby last time, I didn't have a studio. The studio is really only in its infancy. I officially launched it, I think, August, maybe July, August. And so that's something that's still learning and it's still growing its bones, but it's been so successful. We're already booked out until I'm always back from maternity leave. And so what I need to do in that point is totally hand things over. So right now, before this last few weeks, what it looked like was when you emailed the studio, I got the main email and I would liaise, and then I would liaise with the designers. But obviously I'm not going to be doing that liaising when I'm on maternity leave. So I've been training my team to do that liaising, which they're doing such a good job of. You're going to be so cared for if you want to work in this studio. You'll love it. It's so well set up now. But in essence, I've been training them how to reply to emails. What is our timeframes? How to do quoting, how to do this, how to do onboarding calls, how to do discovery calls, all these different things, and training my team how to do those things that I was really scared to hand over because I was like, well, they do a good of a job, but honestly, they're doing probably a better job than I was because they've got more time to dedicate to this. I'm still trying to manage being a mum at the moment, and so I'm really just doing things quickly, whereas they have the time to really dedicate to creating a really great client experience and getting back to your emails quickly and doing all those things. So I'm really excited for that. But in essence, it's involved a lot of training and a lot of slow handover, and enough that I'm not overwhelming my team and I'm equipping them enough, but also that they are feeling like they've tested it enough, they've tested the waters enough that by the time I'm fully off, they know exactly what to do. And so I've been doing that training as well. In there is then this idea of what contact am I going to have with the business when I'm on maternity leave? And that's involved setting up some rules, which I have not fully solidified yet, and I think it's going to be a bit fluid. Ideally, I'm not going to have contact with everyone and anyone from the business. Ideally, I'm going to be only showing up as much as I need to, but I do want to make sure I'm supporting people. So I want to make sure I'm supporting my design coach, my support coach inside DIY Design My Biz. I want to make sure I'm accessible to her for any questions so that my clients are being looked after. I don't want my clients to be contacting me all the time or my students to be contacting me all the time because I won't have that capacity. But if I just have this one person that they can go to if they need help, and then one person that then comes to me if they're desperate, need help, and they don't know the answer by themselves, then everyone's being looked after, and I'm not having everyone contacting me from all sides, kind of disrupting this kind of slow, easeful phase that I hope to be in that time. I've also got things like the studio, like is my team going to just always be messaging me, or am I going to be having like a set call time with them once per week, or a set time each day that they might check in with me? I'm still working out these things, and I'm not sure what I'm going to prefer because it really, like, calls are annoying when you got a newborn because you want to kind of be quiet for them, but then messaging all the time is kind of annoying because it's just endless. And so I'm going to work out some sort of system yet, which isn't yet finalized, and I think will be changing as I kind of go. But having those kind of systems in place, at least a rough guide so that I know who's going to be contacting me and how urgent is it going to be when they do. And them having the confidence to know that if it's not urgent, I trust them to take over. There's a reason I've hired them. There's a reason I've contracted them, because I really believe that they're going to make the right decisions even without me. So I think those are the main things around my maternity leave that I wanted to share with you. I hope that that's been kind of helpful if you're in this phase of business where you're either also going to go on maternity leave, or you're just really interested in seeing how I'm handling this as a business owner who's now got people working for me, who's got multiple parts of the business that are continuing to run while I'm on leave, and what that all looks like, or whether you're wanting to take some time off for different reasons and you want to know how I'm managing this. So in essence, it's just involved a lot of planning, a lot of intentional looking at different bits and pieces, and a lot of intentional training, a lot of intentional hiring, and also not being afraid to spend money, not being afraid to hire people to help with that. That all costs money. And to be honest, it can be quite scary because I'm I'm paying for more and more people, plus paying for Facebook ads, plus paying for heaps of technology that I use to have everything running automatically and to run smoothly. And all of those are things coming out of my account on a monthly basis. Do I have the money to pay for that? And so I've got things set up. Like I've been really great. I was so bad at doing things like cash flow and working out how much cash flow was coming into my business over months and months. But over the last year, I've been really intentional about growing that and making sure that I'm creating spreadsheets and looking at my numbers so that I can see actually already with the jobs we have booked in with the studio and with the clients and the students are on payment plans for my course, I have enough to at least pay my team to do what they need to do. Whether I'm paying myself or not, that's another issue, but I can at least pay my team and I can at least not get into debt. And that's really quite a big win for maternity leave. And so creating different systems and actually being on top of my numbers, on top of my systems, on top of my team, and able to actually hand over those things has been what's going to hopefully make this work. And obviously these are all just the best laid plans. This might all fall apart, but in essence, that's what things are looking for so far. So come March 15th, I'm going to be on maternity leave. You'll see incredible content from me still coming out. Know that was pre-recorded earlier and that I haven't just magically started recording with a newborn or I'm coming back from my leave. But I hope that you'll really feel supported and excited during this time. You can totally join my course. I would love to have you. My team will welcome you. They're going to do an incredible job of doing all of those things. And you'll see me back again in a few months' time, or you might even see me in the group if I feel like popping in. And all of those things are available. Plus the studio is still going as well. Like I said, for branding projects, we're already booked out until May. But if you want to start with us in May, there are still places available for that. So please make sure you're getting in touch because it's about a 2-month wait at this point. So if you want a brand done in May, which is already starting in May, it's probably finishing mid-May, April, May. I've forgotten the order of the dates of the year. January, February, March, April, May, June. If you want a brand finished in June, we need to start you in May, which means you need to get booked in now. So it's kind of like working out those things and helping the studio to kind of do that. I'm going on a tangent again. If you want help with your brand, get in touch. If you want help with any of your graphics, like your social media templates, or you want some flyers or presentation slides, whatever you want designed, we can also start that stuff ASAP. There is no wait list apart from like a week or two for those things. So all these things are still running even while you're watching this, even if you're watching this while on maternity leave. Please get in touch. My team is well supported and equipped to help you with that. And I know that it'll be just as great as if you're working directly with me. So thank you for watching. If you want to support my business, please make sure you jump into the course or jump into the studio. If you have any questions about working with me, just send them through and I will get back to you, or I'll direct my team to get back to you as well. That will always happen. So thanks for joining me for this episode. I hope this has been useful to some extent. Thank you for listening to me blab. And I'll be checking out physically for a little while. And I hope that you, have the best couple of months. And I'll post some pictures on Instagram of my beautiful babies, little hands and their little hair. I don't know if it's going to be brown or blonde, all those things. I'm so excited to find out. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.